Hi everyone, good day. So our topic today, we are going to briefly discuss about virus. Almost all people knew the term virus, but only few knew how virus really works. Now, we are going to discuss the 5 basic informations about viruses. First, we are going to know what is a virus, what are the basic characteristics of a virus, what are the steps of infection. When this infectious biological agent go to the host, the person, and infect, and we are going to relate what are the basic types of virus and its mechanism of action. Now let's get started. First, what is a virus? A virus is a submicroscopic infectious agent. So meaning, this particular virus can't be seen through light microscope. So laboratory will use high-powered microscope in order for them to see the nature, to see the detailed structure of this biological agent. So this virus will replicate only inside the living cells of an organism. So they are going to replicate only inside the living cells. So that's why their basic characteristic is they are going to invade, they are going to infect the cell in order for them to live and then dominate. So these viruses will infect all types of life forms, such as humans, animals, plants to microorganisms, including the bacteria. They are going to invade the good bacteria and dominate. So an archaea. So this archaea, these are molecular agents which are not structured, not organized. This virus also is a tiny non-living biological infectious agents. And what are the characteristics of viruses? One characteristic of viruses is they do not have an organized cell structure. They have no cell nucleus. So this nucleus in a cell, this is the center part or the most important part of a cell. So, mind you, a virus has no cell nucleus. They typically consist or have 1 or 2 strands of DNA or RNA. So, these are genomes. When you will say DNA, the deoxyribonucleic acid and the ribonucleic acid, these are genome strands of a human being. So these are the strands, these are the genome they are going to focus to invade and go inside. Aside from this, now the characteristic of a viruses, they are covered with a protective coat of protein called the capsid. That's why if viruses, they do not die easily because they are protected with this coat, with this covering called as capsid. They are inactive when not inside a living cell. So meaning they are useless if they're outside in the living cells. So that's why they would like to invade, they would like to enter into the cells of the human body, animals or living organisms, in order for them to be dormant and active. So when inside another living cell, that's the time they are going to replicate, and then that's the time they are going to multiply. So the next is, we are going to mention what are the 13 steps of infecting the person or the host. So this infectious biological agent. So here, they consist of either the DNA or RNA genome. Okay? So this genome now, where in case of a protein code known as capsid. So these were what we call as they are protected with. Okay, this capsid is what we have mentioned. So they can only reproduce by infecting. So if they're not going to infect the host or the person's cell, they're not going to reproduce. So once they're inside the cells of the human body, now they are going to replicate and multiply. And then their goal is they are going to take over a living host cell. So once inside the host cell, now the virus will remain remain dormant or active. When stimulated into the active or lytic phase, we call that as lytic phase when they're active inside the living cell, or once they go inside, start to infect the cell of a human body. Now, this virus will insert its own genetic material to the host. They are going to mix into the host DNA. So, we human being, we have cells, not trillion of cells. So, we have DNA, and then once this infectious biological agent will go inside the host cell, they are going to, they are going to mix. Now, they are going to combine with the normal cells. Now, once they are combining with the normal cells, then this virus will take control of the host DNA. So they are going to control. Now they are going to invade, then they are going to kill the normal cells of the human body. So this will cause the host cell to produce viral genes and protein. So when they dominate and when they are active into the normal cell, so when the DNA or genes now and proteins produced by the host cell will be infected already. So that is an infectious cell already. So here, the host cell will now produce the viral genes instead of normal cells. Okay? So normally, the host cell will produce normal cells. Now, since the material, the genetic material inserted by the infectious biological agent go inside the cells, they combine, they dominate, they take control. So the host cell, instead of producing normal cells, they are going to produce infectious cells. So finally, all the viral genes will produce and continue to form what we call as new variants. So that's why now if we could receive informations that the virus is producing new variants now. So this is the basic characteristic in the cycle of infection. Okay? So once the viral genes produce, they continue to form, okay, new variant agents. So these are virus particles, okay, that destroy the host cells. So after that, they are going to release to infect other host cells and repeat the process. So take note, this is the time when there will be a period of transmission. Transmission will start to occur. So that cells are infectious produced by the host, by the person. Now they are going to go out from the cell body, okay, through, now say for example, if somebody will cough up, if somebody will sneeze, if somebody will secrete phlegm or any, okay, waste material coming from inside the body, and then it will contract to the other person, now it will be transmitted. So the infection now will reproduce in the same process. So that's why transmission of infection will be, okay, will be transmitting through to other person. Now, here, we are going to mention the three types of viruses. Now, the common types. We have what we call as adenovirus. Now, this is a family of double-stranded DNA viruses. Originally, they are identified a human adenoid tissue that cause infection. The example of this adenovirus is we have the respiratory system now diseases. We have the conjunctiva diseases, for example, the conjunctivitis, and gastrointestinal tract disease. Now these are caused by adenovirus. Now we have the second type of a virus, what we call as a bacteriophage. This is also known informally as a phage. Now this is a virus that infects and replicates within bacteria and archaea. So, the example of diseases caused by this bacteriophage is we have the diphtheria, the botulism, and then we have the cholera. And then we have the what we call as human immunodeficiency viruses. Now the popularly known as its ID, human immunodeficiency virus. So there are two species of lentivirus that infect humans. Over time, they cause acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, a condition in which a progressive failure of the immune system allows life-threatening opportunistic infections and cancers to thrive. Example of this, its ID virus is, they are going to call that as AIDS, the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Now, I'm going to trace down the mechanism of action, okay? How viruses works. Now, they often induce direct cytopathic effects to disrupt cellular functions. As you could see, this could be through releasing enzymes to degrade host metabolic precursors, or they are going to release proteins that inhibit the synthesis of important host factors, the proteins, the DNA or RNA. So that is all about viruses. The more you know about virus, the more you will be cautious on viral diseases. And then the more you are going to take good care of yourself. That's all.